Hey everyone, welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Make Our Worst Job. I work in IT and my first job was as a tier 1 tech support agent for a call center. Our company had contracts with a lot of smaller ISPs and we would take a high volume of calls for various types of issues depending on who called in. For me, 40 calls in a day were pretty normal. Unlike most people who were just reading a script and collecting a check, I always had a vested interest in technology and also had some IT certifications, which was not the norm here. I was really good at solving technical problems for customers and worked really hard. After working there for a few months, management decided they wanted to start micromanaging the heck out of people and made up tons of strict metrics that they thought sounded good but were not backed by actual data. One of the metrics is that they wanted people to target a 12-minute call time with the customer, and anything over 20 minutes was really bad. That sounds reasonable, but they did not account for people who were really good at their job and resolved a lot of issues. My call times would fluctuate between 6 and 7 minutes because again, I was skilled at problem solving in this area and I resolved all of the customers' issues I could. It turns out that people who had under 9 minutes call times would lose points on their rating because it was so much under the average. So my scores in the spreadsheet were failing because I was too fast. My supervisor was scored on his agent's performance, so his score was also really bad due to the fact that I was good at my job and scoring a 0 every week for average handle time. The contracts we had with these companies we supported paid out to our company based on things like tickets created, issues resolved and the number of calls. So I was essentially making the company 2 to 3 times as much as a slow agent per night I clocked into work. However, because of our amazing performance rating system, my ability to do my job well was hurting both my score and my supervisor's score and getting both of us in trouble. They had a team of a couple of leads listen to all of my calls to figure out what I was cheating on or not doing that was in the process for our clients to make my call times so short. But I had everything I was supposed to do in all of my tickets and was resolving issues, so they found nothing. When we had our weekly one-on-one meeting after this had been going on for a couple of weeks, my supervisor specifically told me that he wanted me to do a worse job from this point forward because it would help both of us. He wanted me to add in random small talk, resolve things slower, and type up my tickets slower. At first I was in disbelief and attempted to argue this. But then I was like, okay, if that's really what you want, I can do it. So that night I talked to random customers about PC games and other nonsense and made the company less money because that's exactly what they wanted. And what do you know, I never got in trouble for call times again. The next story is called Mortgage Company Compliance. When I pay my mortgage, I round up and divide in half. I pay half every other week. My mortgage got picked up by another company when my mortgage company went out of business. To do what I was doing with the new company was $300 to enroll and an extra $40 each payment. I spoke to my credit union and they had an autopay that would pay my bills from my direct deposit free. So nearly a year goes by and I get one of those scary letters, you are in default on your mortgage. Unless we get X payment within 10 days of this letter, we will foreclose. I was astounded since I had never missed a payment and had actually paid a couple of months ahead. So I spoke with the accounting department. It seems like they couldn't accept half payments, only full payments, even though they had done so for a year. So the money had to sit unapplied until a full payment was accrued. That made sense, except again, they got more than enough and it was always in there in full before the due date. So on the due date, they should have just taken it and applied it to the mortgage. So further digging. The rep says to me, oh, by the way, we have $8,200 of unapplied funds in this account. What do you want to do with it? Well, pay my mortgage with it? Oh, we can't do that. So I had to get a check card for $8,200, pay $45 for them to overnight it to me, take it to my credit union, cash it, pay $25 for a cashier's check, and pay another $45 to send the cashier's check back to them. I called relentlessly to see when it had arrived and had all kinds of postal tracking, signature confirmation and such. Remember, I only had 10 days to get this straight. So they get it and verify that it is applied to my mortgage and that there will be no foreclosure. The rep tells me, well, your next payment is due in 2 weeks and there will be penalties and late fees applied. So the amount is this, and we are raising your interest rate to nearly twice what it was before. Well, no, all this is your company's fault. She says you knew these were the terms and conditions when you took out your mortgage with us. Well, no, I didn't take it out with you. I took it out with another company, and I was assigned to your company. Well, don't be late with the next payment. No, I want to speak with our manager. So I finally get to speak to our manager, and he wasn't much better. His only response, well, you can always go with another company, but good luck with that these days. So many foreclosures, and your credit is not very good from missing so many payments. So I decided to take his advice. I contacted my credit union, explained everything, showed them their own payment transfers and the mortgage statements showing the other company had received the money bi-weekly like clockwork. And the credit union took over my mortgage. I got a reduced interest rate and had no extra fees or penalties and got the overpayment back, which I applied to the new mortgage payments. So when a company acts like they have you over a barrel and tells you to try to go with someone else, do it. The third story is called You Should Listen. I work in customer service for a credit card company. One thing I notice is that most people don't pay attention to what you say. They hear what they think they will hear or expect to hear. I frequently have to explain things several times and have learned to require repeat back of important information and sometimes document what I say when my spider senses tingle. I had a customer, Bob, call through with what I thought was a genuine issue which I fixed for him. I can't even remember what the issue was. Bob said he wanted compensation and I thought that was fair enough. I offered the max amount I can, just say 5 out of 5 of goodwill or compensation. Bob replied, that isn't enough, I want 2. I said, you want to reject my offer and instead have me give you 2? Bob said, yes, I want 2. Alright, I will add that to your account and you will see it tomorrow. I thanked him and said goodbye. I never heard back from him or received any feedback, and I did wonder if Bob ever thought about the call and realized he asked me to give him less than half of what I offered. I think Bob expected me to offer 1 of 5 and had already started negotiating in his head. The last story is called Don't Get Insurance Involved. This happened just a week ago. I'm an over-the-road truck driver and I was on off-duty mode since the day before, so I was stationary the whole time. While I was in my bed trying to sleep, I suddenly heard a loud crunch, followed by a pretty rough rocking of my truck. When I got out and checked, I saw a truck trying to park on the left spot and struck me on his blind spot, right side of his trailer. My driver's side mirror was folded and there are cracks on my left quarter fender. The driver got out and checked the damage for both my truck and his trailer. I told him that I will need his registration, DL and insurance, the whole 9 yards. At first he was a little hesitant to give the information but ended up following the rules. I did the same for him. Then he proceeds to tell me that he would prefer to pay the damage in cash or check. The reason was if insurance was involved, his company would charge him $2,500 automatically, so it's a huge loss for him. Even though I don't agree with that and still think insurance is better, I comply and talk to my manager about the whole situation. At first he wanted to claim through insurance too, but after seeing the damage, it was very minor, he settled and told me to charge the driver $1,200 if he wants to pay cash or check. I told the driver what my manager thinks the cost of the repair is. He was more hesitant than when I asked for his information, so I told him it's either $1,200 or insurance. Then he got this bright idea to try to get evaluations from the professional in the nearby shop for the cost of parts and labor. He even tried to fix my side mirror, which, to my surprise, was fixed. Okay, so no need to replace the side mirror, but the fender is still cracked, so that needed to be fixed. His reason to get a professional evaluation is so he can get a receipt for tax purposes, so it's understandable. I told him that I will need to leave in 4 hours, which is true, so I won't have all day to sit around in the mechanic's shop, not to mention I didn't get much sleep since I need to take care of the damage. He was very assuring that it will be very quick, so I comply. We drove to the nearest shop, which is 30 minutes away. Inside the truck, he kept saying that $1,200 is too much to fix a fender. I didn't say anything in retaliation because I actually do not know how much it costs to fix a fender. I just trusted my manager. When we arrived, the tech said that he can't fix the truck within 3 hours. It was fairly busy. So we asked if we can just get an evaluation for the cost of parts and labor, which the tech said that he can do. After an hour, the tech came out and gave us a piece of paper for the evaluation. The total came out to be 1,440 for parts and labor, not including the paint job, which is around 400. He was shocked, thinking that he got ripped off by the evaluation. He complained a whole bunch to the tech, but there's nothing the tech can do about it. He asked for the evaluation, he got an evaluation. Then he went back to me and asked if he can still go back to the 1,200 cost. I told him, but I thought you wanted to get a receipt for an evaluation done by a professional. To say he was stunned was an understatement. He kept making up excuses about the cost, but again I repeated either this or insurance. He finally complied and wrote me a check for 1,440. After we parted ways, I mentioned to him, remember to keep your word for the paint job. If not, my manager will claim the damage as hit and run. He looked at me with the dirtiest look he could muster, but he couldn't do anything about it. Oh well, at least he got his receipt. Thanks for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. Have a great day, bye bye.